Greetings from Just Car People Things. Today we're taking a spin in the Topher's 2023 Safari build Subaru BRZ. Had an absolute blast.
Are we going to have like a weird Inception moment where we're both looking at each other with our GoPros on?
It, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, quick, it's a little rainy. So I had a 20 BRZ that was the performance pack, had the Brembos on it, which I think solved one of the big issues with the new cars. The stock brakes on these, not in love with when I've driven them, so they need that.
I need to upgrade these pads.
But you've got full Safari mode going.
Yep.
The braids, you got the Wild Peak kind of faux terrain tires.
Yeah, they perform really well off-road.
They look great.
In the wild, they're very cute.
Yeah. Okay, but I was gonna say I'm not wiping any. I have to wipe the rain off the GoPro. But the great part about this is that Mother Nature has now provided us a low traction environment for us to drive this thing in.
Exactly why we're here.
And in that case, knowing how Topher drives, this is the seat belt. It goes in this right here. Extra. Make sure I lock it. You know.
Yeah, this thing is a good time. I've always wanted to build a Safari to BRZ, and here we are.
Yeah.
It's better than I thought it would be.
It's got a real interesting vibe to it, that's for sure, as you just are constantly sideways. You mentioned it has a 4.3 rear diff out of my old BRZ, out of the first generation BRZ. So you've got a little bit more grunt down at the bottom end.
Helps a lot, yeah.
I'm sure.
I always felt like the gearing with the 410 was just too tall for this size of a car, and this makes it feel like more Miata-esque.
Yeah.
Gears, you know. It's just nice.
I really enjoyed mine. I put probably 40,000 miles on mine, 50,000 miles on mine, 29 miles a gallon, comfortable, reliable. I had the what? It's backwards. Which one did I have? The premium or the?
You had the limited.
The limited, which of course is the nicest one. That one's got the leather seats and the heated seats, and is a little bit nicer inside. It's backwards in Subaru land because this is a premium. And it is the least optioned model. So, or
premium is base model. And then in Toyota land, the premium is the premium model, and the base is just the base. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's all messed up.
It was funny because we were looking at this in your garage next to the Type R, and I love this color. This is the color to buy one of these in, right? But like, you could see that on the Type R, the paint quality was so much better.
Oh my God,
it's hilarious. Like, that was one of the complaints I had about my car. It was just brutal to keep it looking nice. But this is the color to get this in, and I think it's super, super fun.
It's a rally car color.
It is.
Yep. Wasn't by choice. I kind of wanted a black one for some reason, but
well, probably be a little more incognito given how you were driving it. So.
Exactly.
Well, I had the option when I bought my 1LE. I had the option when I bought my 1LE to go to a rapid blue, right? That bright blue that's on the Corvettes and also the Camaros. Right. And I'm like, man, I drive this thing on a long highway commute. I'm not, the last thing I'm doing, I've got the Riverside blue, which is a little more like this color.
Yep.
So.
Nice thing about all terrains, great frame traction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is really solid and it's really coming down.
And there's 205s, so it cuts right through the standing water.
The dampening is so...
I turned my BRZ to a Lexus.
Yeah, it's so funny because I just got out of your Type R a few minutes ago, and that thing is just like it almost reminds me of like the ZL1 1LE where it's just too stiff. There's no setting where it's soft enough, and then you get in this and it's like, we're galloping along here, but...
it's a little silly.
It's super silly, but you know what? That's the joy of it. And you think about it all in, modifications, everything, all in, you're probably, with this car brand new, 30 grand, 32 grand, with all the parts, with all the, you know, the brand new car, you know, 0 miles on it off the lot. This is a lot of fun for $30,000.
There's nothing more fun for the money. For a new car.
For a new car, for a brand new car.
Yep.
I mean, I drove an 18 WRX STI a few days ago, same color, right? What a great car that was, but it had 40,000 miles on it, and you know, it had been modified, and you know, finding a stock one of those for around 30 grand that hasn't been beaten to death, awful tough these days, right? It's super hard.
You do not want to get an STI that's been tuned, because those motors do not like modification. They like factory maps.
Yep.
And factory boost.
Yep.
And they'll run a long time if you maintain them. If you do frequent oil changes, they do great. They love it.
I had a WRX wagon. It was an EJ 255, so it was a 2006 WRX wagon. So not an STI, but it was a 2.5 liter WRX. And let me tell you, I put 60, 70,000 miles in that car. The only thing I ever had to do to it was put a clutch into it.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That was an awesome
It was
car.
completely stock. It had an exhaust, like a catback exhaust, and that was it.
That's it.
Because I like that Subaru stupid misfiring Volkswagen bus sound that, as our friends at Top Gear reminded us, is the sound of an approaching idiot anywhere in the world. But that was a great car.
Degenerate.
You could haul anything in it. It had a ton of room inside.
Yeah.
And had a really high practicality factor. But that's really the other perk. The other perk to these BRZs, I find them to be very practical for what they are, especially given their size.
Yeah, the only knock against this new generation is the trunk opening is a little bit smaller.
Yep.
So I can't like fit a mountain bike or larger items in the back, but the space is still there. The seat folds way forward, so you can kind of squeeze items.
You can fit four race tires in it,
Yep.
and a jack.
All the
It's
time.
very doable to fit 4 tires into it.
You can even fit these oversized all-terrain tires in the jack area.
No kidding.
Spare tire well, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a
barely.
decent sized back seat. I mean, I've got my legroom up here, but I could pull forward, and it wouldn't be very comfortable for an extended period. But I don't know. I think in the 2 years and however many tens of thousands of miles I had my BRZ, someone sat in the back seat twice.
Yeah, sure. I put my son in the back of this rear-facing child seat. This seat's all the way forward in the dashboard, but it works. Like I could take my son places in this feasibly if I needed to.
Yeah,
I don't opt to very often, but
it's doable.
It's doable, yeah.
Well, and it's, one of our buddies has another 1LE, like I have the Camaro 1LE, the SS. His daughter, who's 3 or 4, she's got a booster seat in the back. It's perfect for her.
Sure.
It's great. And he's 6'4", and she sits behind him.
That's awesome.
In the Camaro. So there's a little bit of room. And wildly, as we're talking about just cars that have room inside, I did recently sit in and was in a new Charger, and was reminded by that is the last truly big sports car.
It's huge.
It's so big inside.
The trunk is made for just like passengers or something.
Right.
There's a lot of space back
Or
there.
bodies.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, the whole back
bodies.
seat is giant, very comfortable. But they kind of dynamically, it kind of reminded me of this too. Real boaty, just real kind of not super dialed down and floaty.
And the crazy thing about the BRZ too is it is just so much softer than the GR86. Like we just had a GR86 loan a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, it's
amazing
a
how much
different
stiffer
car.
that car is. Yeah.
It's funny because the last gen, the FRS 86 and the BRZ, you could blindfold somebody and they were very
so
close. Like you would be hard pressed. The Subaru was like a titch nicer inside, but man, super entertaining when you get a new one because they're really different now.
Yep. Yeah, I prefer the suspension tuning in these new cars. This BRZ is more balanced than the previous gen. The previous gen used to understeer quite a bit, even with the refreshed suspension. And then the GR86 just kind of takes it up a notch. It's a little bit stiff and loud. New GR86. So if you want comfort, go for the BRZ. But if you want comfort,
don't buy
Safari
one.
or BRZ.
Yeah, if you want comfort, go buy a Lexus RC.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, go buy an RCF.
Yeah, RCF.
Nice used RCF.
Yep. It's fast enough.
It is, and I will say that the engine is still similarly very joyless to me.
I don't mind the engine in these. The only thing that's bumming me out about these new cars is that track reliability seems to be very poor so far.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are tracking their cars and are good drivers, they're doing all the right things. They're putting oil coolers in. They're putting the right oil in. Engines are blowing up left and right. Every week we hear about a new engine that's popped.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that tells me that these new cars have oiling issues. The previous gen BRZs, you barely heard of engine failures unless if people turboed it, supercharged it, or just did dumb
Yeah,
stuff.
the FA20 motor was seemed to be
really
a lot more solid than the 24.
My 2014 BRZ is still out there flying around in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Having a great time, and stayed very reliable. It's got over 100,000 miles on it. I don't think this is a 100,000 mile motor anymore. And
No.
it's, in this spec. So
no, and it's you know, when you start looking at your alternatives like an S2000 or something that's got, you know, kind of similar price point, you know, that 20 to 30 grand range for a good trackable car, those things, the reliability factor is much higher.
Yeah. So hopefully Toyota and Subaru can figure out the oiling issues in these cars, but also we're going to be seeing a new GR86 here in a few years.
True.
With a turbo 3-cylinder and some hybridization.
Yeah.
So it's a more expensive car, but
and I'm okay, you know, with that. You know, the kind of the perk to these is they've always been a relatively cheap car. Whoa.
Feel that dirt traction?
Yeah. It's shocking how much it feels like an all-wheel drive car. Yeah. It's really pretty wild.
There's no wheel spin. You have to try to get wheel spin out of this.
Yeah.
It soaks up bumps like that, but that was a huge bump.
That was a huge bump.
You couldn't see it because it was full of a puddle.
Yeah.
Full of water. But just soaked it right up. Didn't even bottom out suspension.
Yeah. Whoa. Reminds me of that Dodge Ram T-Rex we had for a period.
Braking.
Feels like we're on on tarmac.
Yeah.
A little burnout. Not gonna get old.
It's a good time.
It is a good time, right? I mean, it just, anything you ask, it'll do. Let me tell you folks, if you're looking for a winner daily driver and just having no shame about driving a sports car every day, this is a stupid and fun choice. You know, I feel like you probably are in the same boat. Like, you remember being a kid and seeing the Rally 911s?
Yes.
You know, the Safari, the
Absolutely.
Dakar kind of 911s, and you'd look at it and you'd be like, that's stupid. You know, like, you'd have that initial reaction of, why would you want that? That's really dumb.
Want that.
And now, like, when you experience this, you're like, oh God, I would love to just fly around in a 911 like a total jerk off road.
It's the best. I mean, with Lamborghini coming out with a Sterrato and Porsche with the 911 Dakar.
Right.
And those are hundreds of thousands of dollars. This, for about $33,000
delivers just as much entertainment.
Oh my gosh, it's just
and
fun.
You feel way less shame too, because like when this gets a rock chip, because it's gonna get a rock chip.
Actually, the mud flaps cover everything.
Really?
I have no issues with
yeah, but if you're out hooning around, sooner or later it's gonna get dinged up a little bit. And
a little bit.
You feel less shame about this than your $200,000 911. Those, like, if I actually saw someone with one of those 911s at like an ORV park, I would die of a heart attack. it would be the biggest shock of anything that I've ever seen in my entire life. Because you know that all those cars are gonna, one, you have to murder someone to get an allocation, right? And two, you know, when you do get it, it's gonna be your baby, and you're gonna be like, it's gonna be like a bubble in your garage, you know, that you're not gonna allow children and most adults near. So, you know, we put a lot of those cars up on the pedestal, and for good reason, right? I mean, they're collector cars, they have a lot of value and everything else, but this is something you can really drive every day and have a ton of fun with it the entire time.
And the best part is, it's cheap, and what we just talked about, it's stress-free.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that's something I think when you're big into cars and your car is your baby, and, you know, you might have financially, like, maybe the car you drive every day is also your baby, right? Not everybody can have a third, fourth, fifth car. You worry a lot about it.
Sure.
And, like, you know, you're parking way out and back. You don't want to park near people. You're, you know, really watching for people who are texting and driving and not being attentive. And, you know, you get a little paranoid, OCD about it, right? And this I would feel a lot less shame with, just because the price point and the performance, and it's just a great car to fly around in. So, very different than what I was expecting.
The cool thing about this is I love the freedom to be able to just take this down a dirt road or explore a little bit while I'm on a road trip, and the ability to have a bit of extra ground clearance, not have to worry about parking into a curb when you're at the supermarket.
Oh yeah.
It's just so freeing, it's so liberating.
That 1LE spoiler on my car is about a solid 4 inches out from the front of the car, and it's like, I'm always getting the, you parked way back from the curb. It's like, yeah, man, I don't want to be using 3M tape to put this spoiler back on halfway home. Like, no thanks.
Yep.
dynamically, it's so tail happy. It's very engaging to drive, right? It forces you to be attentive and forces you to kind of have a little bit of fun with it, which I really appreciate. It's so silly.
It is the most fun in the winter, though.
Oh, I believe that.
Yep. A little extra power in the cold weather, and a little bit less traction with all the salt down, you know, everything.
Yeah, it's just a little more grit out there.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like these all-terrains because they have more traction overall than a winter tire would by a long margin in 90% of conditions, except for snow. But they still have sidewall stiffness, which means they don't fall apart around a corner. Like in the drive, this actually has a good amount of grip. You have to work to get this thing sideways.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely are adding a lot of boot to it, like a lot of throttle to it to really make it rotate. Your reliability has been pretty good on this, though.
Oh, it's been flawless. No issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously, does it eat a little oil? I found mine ate a little oil.
No, didn't burn a drop.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done 2 track days with this. That's it. And yeah, it hasn't burned any oil.
Yeah, I found mine would also chew a little coolant. I find Subaru boxer motors tend to,
especially in the winter.
Yeah, they're, you know, maybe a cup a year, you know, or a cup every few months. Just, you know, a little bit of coolant here and there, a little bit of oil. Yeah, I'd probably add a quart between a 5,000 mile change.
Yeah, I haven't
Nothing
noticed
outrageous.
those same issues with this new BRZ. There's a little jump. I can really feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I love about this car is just the ride comfort.
Yeah, you know, even mine was on PFO1s on stock tires, so they were a little bit Enkei PFO1s are a little stretched. So it was the stock, I think, what is it, 215 tire?
Yeah.
If I remember right. 215, 17, it was like a 40 profile. And that little bit of stretch, and it gave you a little bit of steering feel, which these cars already have great steering feel. The flip side of it was, you know, on Michigan roads, it could be a little bit uncomfortable. And I bent a wheel once. You know, that's something worth mentioning.
That's right. Yeah, I've tried to avoid that with braid wheels and super high profile tires.
Yeah. Do you think we could do this to my 1LE?
Yeah.
Spacer lift?
It'd be hilarious. It's so worth it.
I don't know if the mag dampeners would really like this behavior.
I mean, it's just a spacer at the top of the suspension. So,
okay, so are they like Delrin pucks or something like that, or metal pucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that in Jeep world. You see that in, you know, in a lot of more off-road spec vehicles. I do drive my 1LE in the winter. I would like the record to state that.
Yeah.
And on snow tires, it is really good to drive. I have no issues with it. Everyone's always like, you're gonna die. You know, it's like, put the right tire on it. Look, if you're getting 14 inches of snow, why are you driving anywhere anyways?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
we have a GX, we have an SUV, we have a GX460. If I gotta get somewhere truly in an emergency in a really bad situation, I'm just gonna take the SUV, you know? And so for those out there that think you can't drive one of these every day, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I love that you can just rotate in place. Like, you just like, I'm gonna use the front wheels to sort of
It's a great turning
mark my turn and just rip.
You wanna drive?
Yes.
Let's just start right here. And we'll find a good pull-off.
Well, you are the only person going 55 on a dirt road.
Yeah, I mean, the speed limit's 55.
It actually is. That's my fault, actually. It's a long story, but my day job, it actually is a little bit my fault, so.
Good spot.
All right. Man, you gotta like have stock in a pressure washing company.
Yeah, a little trick with the car wash.
Full trip to the car wash. Don't use that brush at the...
The underbody's already filled. And with the ceramic coating, it actually comes off pretty quickly.
We're also going to comment on the fact that without talking to each other, we basically wore the same outfit today. So we're not related, folks. I really promise you, we're merely friends. It is a reminder. How did we meet? You were shooting. You were a photographer, and you were doing wedding work.
Yeah, we met at a wedding. We talked autocross for like an hour during.
Yeah, and found out that a following weekend we were actually racing against each other in the same class. Because I had an NA Miata, and you had an NA Miata. Yep. Your family had an NA.
One of the professors at Alba.
Introduced us.
I don't even know where we are, so just keep taking turns. Everything's off. Go nuts.
We'll just stuff it into 5th gear and roll it along. One more click back. I just got to get all my settings right.
Yep.
My legs are longer, so.
I'm just memorizing everything you're doing, and then I'll undo.
Yeah, right. I know. I feel bad. I got in your Type R this morning, and that car's everything's still manual. Like you don't think about that, but like even the seats in a Type R are still a manual seat, and I was like adjusting everything, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. What a great car to heel toe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's so responsive now.
Just the one thing I'll say, this seems a little revier, which is crazy to say that. It seems revier than the last generation car.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it's a little happier to rev. So
extra torque, extra power. Barely feel the torque dip anymore.
Yeah, I don't get that at all on the power band. But man, the handling is so good on the dirt. I'm shocked by this.
It's at home here. Like, it loves it. It rides so soft, so smooth, soaks up all the bumps.
Do you have a trailer hitch for this, for your bike, for like a bike rack?
Yeah.
So you can take your bikes with you, and
so I can
you'd also need to pressure wash the bikes on the back of this, just FYI. You need a portable pressure washer. But yeah, I mean, we're on washboard. Like I'm almost aiming for the washboard, and it's also shockingly, this generation is much quieter too. That's the other thing to mention.
They made huge improvements with NVH.
Yep, because the last gen car, if I knocked my hand up here, up above, up on the ceiling, it would literally sound like a bass drum. Dun, dun, dun. You hear the metal, underneath it, and this is not that. So
you dip a tire in here. Yeah. And I love the size of these cars. They're just the right size. They're small.
They are
applicable.
Easy to park.
Tiny gaps. Yep.
Easy to park. I always liked mine. It was always shocking when people would look in it and be like, "That has a back seat in it?" And it's like, well, yeah, it does actually. So, super fun. So you can kind of stand on the brakes.
Yeah.
And then just a little boot of throttle. You just make it wag, That's great.
Just get squirrely.
Yeah, and that's fine. But it's so controllable. And the other thing is, like, we're going around that corner there and, 20 miles an hour? So, like, the consequences are so low. And you can really just have a great time with it. Amazingly, at 55 miles an hour on dirt road, it's comfortable. That's mind-blowing to me. I mean, even in my GX460 in comfort mode, if you were rolling along on this stretch of road, you would think that parts were going to fall off the car.
Yeah, no, it's amazingly compliant.
Who would have thought that Subaru, with all their rally heritage, built a great sports car that could then be turned into a great rallycross off-road vehicle
that isn't all-wheel drive.
That isn't all-wheel drive.
That's the only thing. It's the only question I get all the time about this car is it all-wheel drive? And I'm like, nope, it's rear-wheel drive, and it's better for it.
And it's better for it.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I was in the STI the other day. Center diff control. You can dial your diff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right, so you can bias it towards the back or bias it towards the front. And I have always thought that Subarus, because of their setup and everything else, have historically always felt a little bit more rear-wheel drive.
Absolutely, yeah.
than their counterparts. The Evo, for example, always to me when I drove it, even I'm going to use this turn signal. Even
BMW's turn signals.
I know. But the Evo always felt more like a front-wheel drive car to me. And I know that's probably sacrilege to say that, but the nature of the motor, the height of the motor, where it sits in the car, they're a little more nose heavy than the Subarus, at least seemingly in their handling, and that was, having owned one and driven another. But
I mean, they handle like the best front-wheel drive car ever with all-wheel drive power out of corners. But yeah, no, the STIs, like especially on dirt, gravel, a little bit of lift off, throttle, and it just rotates so beautifully.
Left here?
Yeah, left here is good.
I'm shocked too that like it seems like from a turning perspective on tarmac that you haven't messed with anything enough to impact things like scrub radius and like how it feels mid-corner. And you would think like with this tire on it and with the suspension lift that it would change geometries in a way that would be awkward or a little bit weird, but that actually doesn't seem like the case at all, which is kind of surprising to me.
Barely perceptible. It's great. Like you go and put the Michelin stock primacy tires back on this, and it handles just like a regular BRZ. It feels exactly the same.
It's so weird.
It's crazy, yeah. And the only difference is there's just a little bit more float over bumps, over big undulations and big bumps.
Right.
There's just that one more body motion.
Well, and these already have a very low center of gravity from the get-go. So from a dynamics perspective, it's not like you're making the car tippy. No. Because if you did this to something a little taller, right, that maybe has a little bit, more
higher center of gravity,
yeah, more motor higher up in the car, a higher seating position, all this different stuff, especially like the crossover SUVs. And I want to say was it the X3M that you drove, or X5M that you were like, this is the best, worst car I've ever driven?
Yeah.
Where like
it was like bouncing around corners.
Right. It's like you've taken something that is supposed to be this pickup truck.
Yeah.
Right. That it's got ground clearance and that can actually kind of go off road, and then suddenly you've made it a sports car and given it really stiff dampening and given it a really crazy motor and driveline, and it like dynamically when you drive it, it's trash.
Yep.
It's fighting itself the entire time.
The best SUV is the one that I have this week. It's the Durango Hellcat. The Durango SRT, the Durango Hellcat, and maybe the Tow and Go package have the best chassis of any big SUV because Dodge figured it out.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Dodge earlier from an industry perspective, and there's this long-running joke that like
right, left chicane here.
We're going straight.
Take a right. Hard on the brakes.
It's just so easy. I keep waiting for it to do something untoward, like to like understeer or to like not do what I want it to.
Yep.
And because I
with traction back on, the stock traction control system here, like with the new cars, is miles better than what it was.
Yeah, the old traction control system, I would run constantly in track mode.
Yeah, this is track mode too. But even
you had
this
to
setting, yeah, you could play around a little bit on the street, get a little bit of slip angle, and it's beautiful.
It's a little floatier under power, but like not in a bad way, not in an uncontrolled way. It just you can kind of feel the height a little bit.
Yep.
But we were talking about Dodge, and I want to bring this up because they are probably one of the few companies until later this year when they stop building the Charger Challenger that are truly building nothing but cars that feed your inner monkey. Like it turns you into an absolute tickling the lizard part of your brain.
Yeah.
Worst
interiors, best smiles, best laughs.
Yeah, because what's the downside, right?
Yep.
Like, come back around here. So that traction control was a little intrusive there, but that's okay. Saved us.
Saves you, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of bounce coming on the highway, but get up to highway speed here. It's so interesting that these feel a little like, they feel more fake Honda than they ever did before to me.
Yeah.
Because like, it's like, oh, it's only coming on power at 6,000. You can start to hear that, the variable valve timing, really get into it around 6,000 RPM. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, this versus the S2000 would be an interesting track lap test. And I could still feasibly track this car. I have some sticky tires for it.
That would be very entertaining.
Yeah.
But
maybe we'll do a couple laps someday. Right before the warranty runs out.
Right before take the spacers off, trade it in.
Right now, actually, I feel very confident in the reliability of this car because it's not pulling G-forces.
Right, it'll slide before it pulls G's.
Exactly, yeah.
So your oiling problems probably go away a little bit.
Problems, don't have to worry about it. In a straight line, on left-hand turn, it's fine. NASCAR all day long.
Yep. And here we are, so, 75, 80 miles an hour.
It's great.
I mean,
yeah.
Probably a lot more comfortable than that Wrangler up there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which those things you're constantly, for those of you who have not driven a two-door Wrangler on the highway, it's a lot of correction. You spend a lot of time, spending just these little inputs.
Every time I drive a Jeep Wrangler, I'm like, I can't believe
they sell this to the public.
The majority of consumers drives this in the modern era. Like, this is ridiculous. So many other cars.
So up until the Bronco, people would ask me all the time. They'd say, I want a convertible, but it needs to have 4 seats.
Yep.
And I would look straight at them and I go, you need the last 4-door convertible sold in America. And that's changed now with the Bronco.
Yep.
But the Wrangler, for years, was the only 4-door convertible sold in America. And it's like so laughable. They'd look at me and be like, well, what do you mean, I want a 4-door convertible or 4-seat convertible that's comfortable and easy, it's relatively easy to drive and, it does what I want it to do. And the short answer is that you should go buy a Jeep Wrangler.
Yep.
Because you're never going to want a Mustang or,
Now the answer is a Bronco, because the Bronco drives like a sports car.
It's true, the Bronco does drive really well. The only problem with the Bronco is it's a little bit, how do we say this nicely? Blowy uppy? Is that the...
The 6 cylinders are a little explodey.
Yeah, a little explodey.
You take it right here.
And again, what a lovely car to heel toe. It reminds me of my S2000 in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, that pedal commander really made a big difference with engine response, because the stock throttle mapping from Subaru is horrible. Just the worst.
Yeah, I drove it stock and it was not great.
Miserable.
We going,
take a left.
Excuse me? Just cutting off a new Chevy Trax.
That's okay.
It's fine. They're driving a Trax. Although the new Chevy Trax, actually a nice car.
I heard it's pretty good.
Yeah. 3-cylinder turbo. What is it? You can get like a really nicely optioned one for like 25 grand.
I like these new 3-cylinder turbos. They sound cool. They have more personality than the 4 cylinders. They're more fuel efficient. They might not last as long because they're probably a little more stressed, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, so we said that about 4-cylinder turbos for a long time too.
Yeah.
So
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then we'll throw some hybridization into it for a minute too.
Well, and that's, I'll give Toyota credit for that, right? It's like they are moving towards this hybrid model that I think in the nearer term, the next 3 to 5 years, is a smarter model than the battery electric model. I really do. Not to say that battery electric cars are bad. They're super fun. Go do a pull in a plaid and,
it's
not expect to have a smile on your face.
It's a relatively niche market.
It is.
The adoption is going to take 20 years. It really is.
It's just time, and it will happen. The tech also gets better every year.
In the United States, at least. In other countries, it's going to happen way faster.
Yeah. But, well, the stat last year was, so we've got our manual transmission here, which this is just a great manual, wonderful manual transmission. Was it last year or year before was the first year in the United States that there were more electric cars sold than manual transmissions? That statistic has flipped.
Yeah.
And so that just goes to show you, this is the dodo right here.
And more manuals got sold recently than ever before because of the pandemic, because of, people, that was me overheating. It's just people want sports cars now,
For sure.
Yeah. Blue and a little bit brown.
It's got a good look to it right now.
It looks right.
It totally looks right.
Yeah.
Just dripping with garbage, and if we were at my house, we'd now do a video film of us washing it.
Let's go to the car wash.
Oh man.
That'll be a satisfying outro.
Yeah. The power washing pornography people are into, So.
That's a whole YouTube channel right there.
Yeah, it could be your own YouTube channel for sure. But what a cool car! This is super fun. I try not to nerd out on every car that I'm in because it's always fun to be in a cool new car. But this is a really unique vehicle and something you're not going to get really anywhere.
It was so easy to build and so simple to put together. I mean, the lift was like $500, easily installed in your garage, or you could pay someone to do it for a few $100. Mud flaps, They protect this car from all the big rocks and chips. This doesn't have any chips on the side. The only chips are on the rear wheels, and that's just
probably from just them spinning around.
Spinning around, yeah.
Yep.
That's just what happens when you drive on gravel. And then underneath it's pretty dirty, but it's fine. It's no worse for wear. And I've got this rust proof, so I don't worry about it getting rusty.
Yeah.
PPF on the front.
And I love the color. I mean, you get around here and the sun just pops, and it was actually kind of a bummer because my Camaro is a 1LE. It's in Riverside, right, which is the darker, the more navy blue. And for a period, I had both. So I had the Camaro and this that were in the garage next to each other, and this is a better color. It's like a good medium, bright blue that I really like. GM kind of went super bright blue with the Rapid blue, and then kind of the more dark navy-ish with the Riverside, and this is kind of right in the middle, and I really like it. It grabs
a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like the attention all the time, but it is a cool color to walk up.
And I also have a soft spot for blue cars on white wheels.
Yes,
so.
yes, of course.
But it looks great.
All right,
well, thanks for the spin.
Wash.
Let's go to the car wash.
Yeah.
It's for everyone on YouTube. Chris's credit card number is 37. Never. This is like the most satisfying part of driving any car for me, is the getting it home and cleaning it.
Yeah.
Look at just like, there we go.
We're gonna do a little pre-soak on this. It'll get all the dirt off.
Yeah, it needs the pre-soak. What we never do, and you know this, is you never ever use at one of these car washes, if you care about your car, that right there. This, folks, is the devil, and is the ticket to having someone like me who details spend hours trying to unmess up your car, because that is going to be full of dust, dirt, and grit. And the last guy that was here was literally in a monster truck. He was cleaning with that, right? Way worse than this. So if you're going to come to one of these car washes, these are great places. I highly recommend bringing your own bucket. You can get a screw top lid for a 5-gallon bucket. They're only a few dollars. What do you want? Soap? Yep. Soap? High pressure soap? High pressure soap. There we go. So for just a few bucks, you can get a screw top 5-gallon bucket. You can fill it at home with your soap. You can use the pressure washer once to blast everything off. You can wash it, then use the pressure washer again to rinse it off. That's a great trick. You'll use about the same amount of time, and most of the time places will allow you to do that. But whoa, you can see the dirt rolling off this thing.
Well, with this spray down, that's about a wrap for us here at Just Car People Things. Wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to the Topher for all of his support and willingness to let me tear around in his great fun cars like this 2023 Subaru BRZ. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Always happy to reply. Thanks again for tuning in on this longer hangout video with us, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it.